Who News? New costume and trailer. Hello, and it's not that long since we did this, and in fact, they did this. They did the new costume reveal for the new Doctor literally a day after I said they were going to when I uploaded the last news video. Okay, so we'll talk about it, I suppose. Shooty Gatwa's costume and Millie Gibson's, though obviously Millie's just a normal girl next door and she looks cute in it, so that's fine. I can't say I'm overly impressed. It's not god awful. I mean, it's not, Jodie Whittaker's hilariously bad outfit, tone deaf outfit. Uh, it's a little less bland than Eccleston's. It still feels very kind of, I don't know, man in the street. And I know that's Davis's preferred style, but I find that just kind of boring. And it just smacks, along with the way that he tends to write the Doctor, of being terrified to actually do the Doctor properly because it'll send the mainstream running for the Coronation Street or something. I don't know. I just find it a bit weird, and it seems like we're getting more of the same, which is not exactly overwhelmingly positive for me. I mean, the plaid stuff looks okay, I suppose. It's a bit bland. The orange shirt looks a bit shit, frankly. And apparently they're all women's clothes, apparently, which is okay. Weird. Why? Admittedly, they don't look it, but it still seems kind of weird. Are we still trying to send the message ahead of doing Doctor Who? Are we? Oh dear. Wasn't the last era proof enough of what a complete disaster that turns out to be? Oh well. Anyway, I can't say I was overly impressed. Put it like that. The other thing, of course, is the trailer. The bigger trailer for the anniversaries for 60th, which was a fun trailer. It's a fun trailer. We got to see Beep the Meep, which is hilarious, and the Wrath Warriors. It looks fun. I mean, it looks fun. I guess my big qualm, and again, it's not really a qualm at the moment because they're clearly being very careful about what they're showing us. All of the stuff in the trailer was stuff that we all knew from the location filming. We pretty much already knew Tennant and Tate. We knew Beat the Meep and the Wraith Warriors. We know Neil Patrick Harris is there being the villain. So it didn't really show us anything that we didn't already know from the location stuff. And certainly, according to Tennant, there's loads more that we don't know and loads of people that we don't know. My concern, I guess, is how much of a Tennant wank fest is it going to be, Because it's the 60th anniversary. This is what worries me. Again, this is just based on what we've seen so far. If there's tons of stuff and tons of, that we haven't, then fair enough. But just based on what we've seen so far, it kind of feels like this would have been fun if we'd had it this year. But I really hope there's more to it than what we've seen for a 60th anniversary. I also really, really hope it's not just a Tennant circle jerk. I'm sorry. I mean, I know that I get that it's very difficult to do the classic Doctors these days because half of them are dead and the other half are look it. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to represent 60 years by doing the kind of things that he seems to be doing. I mean, if it is the Toy Maker, that's obviously a callback to the Hartnell era. Beep the Meep is doing classic Who ephemera in terms of like comic strips, and there's probably a lot more of that. And I think that's not an unreasonable way to kind of do a tribute to the whole show. I don't think that's an unreasonable way of doing it, since it is getting harder and harder to bring back classic Doctors in any reasonable way. My concern is I really, really fucking hope we're gonna get Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi, and not just in 2-second cameos, or I'm gonna be pissed. I'm sorry. I know we're all supposed to be, ejaculating over Tennant. I'm not a big fan of Tennant, and if he's really the only Doctor we get in any real way for the 60th, I'm gonna be pissed. It also kind of looks really fucking dodgy, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Davis is coming back and he makes the 60th all about his Doctor. That really feels like a freaking ego. And again, I'm not saying, this is all just what could be. They could be hiding tons of stuff. They could be hiding Smithy and Capaldi. I hope so. I really, really hope so. But if they're not, or if we get like a 20-second cameo from Matt Smith and the rest of the 3 hours is all Tennant, I'm not going to be happy. I'm sorry. The story looks like it's going to be fun, and it may end up being. And again, I know we're saying all this just from a 2-minute trailer. My concern is we'll get a story that is better than Day of the Doctor, which in my opinion wouldn't be difficult because I thought Day was terrible. But we're still going to get a story that is not a good anniversary story. Personally, I don't think Day was a good anniversary story or a good story in its own right at all. I thought it was awful. I'm just worried. I'm just worried on that sense. I think that, again, the trailer looks fun. It looks fun. But this is not, it's not just, a special. It's the 60th. And while I appreciate the difficulties with honouring the classic stuff, and I think maybe he's found a decent way of doing it with all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, there's really no excuse for not bringing back Smithy and Capaldi, and I'm gonna be pissed. I'm sorry if we don't get Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and probably Karen Gillan for more than 20 seconds. I'm gonna be pissed. Even if it's a fun story, it's gonna be a bad anniversary story. That's just, again, I know I know. We're miles away. There's probably loads of stuff we don't know about. I really, really hope that is the case. I mean, Davis has even teased Frobisher, which I think is, again, hilarious. But again, I like this idea. I like this way of doing an anniversary with with this sort of thing. I think that's a clever way of doing it, and a clever way of getting around the problem of honouring classic when all of the actors are just so freaking old. But there's no real excuse not to honour other New Who Doctors besides just his Doctor. And if that's what we get, it's gonna feel dodgy. Anyway, that's my opinion. I just hope that again, I'm not saying this definitively. They probably are keeping a lot of stuff, and I really hope so. But I'm just not keyed on a 3-hour massive Tennant circle jerk and nobody else. I will not be happy if that's the case. Anyway, that's it. Bye for now.